Brake maintenance is one of the most important pieces of maintenance that you can do on a bike. Whether it's a gravel bike, a mountain bike, a road bike, anything, your brakes are integral to your safety and performance on the bike. And if you're anything like me, it might be a little overdue to swap out your brake pads. It's an incredibly easy and fast job to do, and it's something you really need to keep an eye on just to keep your braking power where it needs to be. Again, impacting your performance on the bike, but more importantly, your safety on the bike. So that is what I'm going to show you how to do today. I'm going to show you how to change out your brake pads. One disclaimer is that I am changing the brake pads on my full suspension, which has SRAM brakes. But if your bike has Shimano or maybe Tektro or something like that, then the same basic idea applies. You just want to make sure you get the correct brake pads for your bike. But to begin the process, obviously we need to start by removing the wheel. After we remove the wheel, we need to separate the pistons. The reason that we need to separate these is we need to reset them back to their default location. If we don't do that, then the brake pads that we put in are going to be too thick and there's not going to be enough room to put the rotor in there, or there will be enough room, but it's going to rub on both sides. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Now, there is a piston separator tool that you can buy, but you don't need one. You can use a humble flathead screwdriver, and that's what I'm doing here today. Is somebody going to get mad at me? Probably. But is your bike going to explode? No. Using either the tool or a flat object like a flathead screwdriver or maybe even a tire lever, we will reset the pistons back to their default positions. Once reset, we need to remove the cotter pin, which is going to be on the end of the locking bolt. You can think of this cotter pin as just the last resort. So if this bolt comes out of the threads, then that cotter pin is going to be the only thing that's keeping those brake pads in there. So you want to make sure that that gets put back on. But to replace them, obviously, we need to remove it. Once the cotter pin is taken off, you can then remove the locking bolt. Next step is to remove the pads. Now, depending on your bike, they may exit from the bottom of the caliper or the top of the caliper. With the brake pads removed, one side note is that this is an excellent time to clean the piston with either soap and water or like a cleaning wipe or something. It's just nothing is in the way. Good time to clean it. With everything out of the way, we need to get the new brake pads. New brake pads are going to include everything that you need. It'll have a new locking bolt, a new cotter pin, and of course, the new brake pads. To install these new pads, we essentially just have to do the process in reverse. With the brake pads, there are these little metal things that I've always called them little metal wings. You want to slide one side over one of the brake pads and then the other side over the other brake pad. Once those are together, you can actually kind of pinch them together and feel them bounce back into place. Pinching them together also makes it easier to install, so go ahead and install that the same way that you remove the old brake pads. Line up the locking bolt with the holes on the caliper. Screw this in and tighten it down. And then, of course, as mentioned before, you want to make sure you reinstall the cotter pin. The pads are technically in place now, but we're not done. What we need to do now is adjust the brakes so that they're not rubbing and everything is centered. We'll start by reinstalling the wheel. I'm not sure if you can hear that or not. I don't know if the onboard microphone is going to pick this up, but listen. So that means our rotor is rubbing the pad somewhere, and I'm going to show you how to fix that. Take a torque wrench or an Allen key or whatever and loosen the bolts on the brake caliper itself. Don't take them completely out. You just want a little bit of movement on the caliper. Once those are loose, reach up and hold down the brake. Holding down the brake is going to engage the pistons and give you an almost perfect center line. While holding the brakes down, go ahead and tighten those bolts back to their torque specifications. As I said, this gets it right probably 95% of the time. that 5% can be kind of annoying, and then you got to kind of adjust the top and the bottom. To do that is really simple. Loosen the top bolt, and you can either use a flashlight and shine up through the brake pad to see the light and see if there's a side that's rubbing more than the other. Or oftentimes you can actually just eyeball it, get it to where it's not rubbing, and then tighten that bolt down. Now we just need to repeat the entire process on the rear wheel. I don't know if you can hear it, but this one is rubbing as well. But the back brake is a little trickier to listen for. What I do is, because if you spin forward, all you hear is the free hub. If you go backwards, normally you can kind of hear if those pads are rubbing. So we're going to do exactly what we did on the front. Once all the brake pads are installed, there is one last important piece that I do want to go over, and that is wearing the pads in before you go out. For me, I just use the driveway, but if you have a street or some grass or a hill or something, go on that hill, go down a short little ways, and then squeeze the brakes until you come to a complete stop. New brake pads will have a bit of a film on them or like a coating, and so they won't stop perfectly the first time. Wearing them in like this kind of ensures that when you go out on the trail or you go out on the road when you really need that braking power, it's going to actually work the way that it's intended. But that, my friends, is all there is to it. It's something that I am really bad about not checking and kind of neglecting. And then I come out into the garage to fix it, and it takes 10 minutes, and I realize that I was procrastinating for nothing. But hopefully these steps help you install some new brake pads and get you back out on the trail or the road or the gravel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Real quick before I go, if you like the hat or you like the shirt, be sure to check out the link in the description, which is an affiliate link with N+1 Bicycles in Louisville, Kentucky. I call them the best bike shop in the world because they are. You should go to the site or visit the store if you're in the area to find out for yourself. They've got bikes, parts, apparel, bottles, glasses, basically everything you could need at a bike shop, and they're fantastic. So give them a look, and I thank you all for watching.